Welcome to Feedback Loop.
Welcome back.
Yeah, well, it's episode 2. I'm Jeremy.
I'm Joey.
And we're doing this still.
Yeah.
2 weeks in a row, going strong.
Change the name.
Change the name. We're Feedback Loop. We are no longer Charismatic Tunes.
We're no longer that.
Was a nonsensical title. I mean, it wasn't nonsensical.
It was a spur-of-the-moment title.
It was a spur-of-the-moment title. So, Feedback Loop. That's what we're going with for now. We'll see if we change it.
Until we come up with a better name, I guess.
Until we come up with a better name. This past week, we listened to I Disagree by Poppy.
Yes.
Very interesting album.
Jeremy's choice.
My choice. I chose this album because I'm a fan of Poppy. Have a history with Poppy, as much as one can have with an artist that didn't really get big until like 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Pretty dramatic. This album specifically, though, it tied in with what we were talking about last week. You mentioned offhandedly that by the end of our show, we would bridge the gap between pop music and black metal.
Yes.
This isn't exactly black metal, but it's kind of a new metal, kind of heavier, but also a lot of pop. So I chose that. Also, I think Poppy as an artist is worth discussing.
Oh, yeah.
Just from the evolution of her music and also her personal career life stuff. YouTube stardom. She started doing covers on YouTube.
Yeah.
She met Titanic Sinclair.
He turned her into Poppy, I guess.
He turned her into Poppy. I think she was... Maybe not. Maybe I should have fact-checked this a bit better. But she was doing covers on her own. Met Titanic. She became that Poppy.
Yeah.
Initially for an EP, and then she did 3 studio albums as Poppy, just Poppy, as well as some weird YouTube shit, which I'll talk about later if you weren't already aware.
I was aware of it. I don't know any context for it.
Yeah.
What I do know is that apparently there was a proto-Poppy before Poppy was Poppy, who was a different woman.
Yes, and we'll get into that.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll get into that. I kind of want to go through the album first, and then at the end, I'll give some context that might change.
Much needed context.
Yeah. Also, as I said, I'm a fan. That's why I chose this album. I've been to a live show.
Oh man.
Of Poppy for her first album. I'm a hipster, whatever.
Before she was cool.
I have a shirt that's bright blue, which is not a color I wear, but it says, I am not in a cult led by Poppy, which...
but you are.
I am. It's weird, and we'll get more. I'll kind of explain more on the cultism of it later as well, because I think that's worth talking about. But had you heard of Poppy? Can't even say.
I had heard of Poppy before.
What's your context?
My whole context was I'm Poppy, like that one video.
Yep.
Like I just
YouTube.
Yeah, that's all I knew her from, and like. I had heard that she made music, but I never looked into it. I never watched... I saw the video of her, like, talking to a plant or something.
There's some weird shit out there.
That was about it.
So I'll talk more about that. Not specifically that video, but the videos in general afterwards. But we're going to go ahead and get right into this. I Disagree by Poppy. Album cover, not necessarily anything thrilling. Yeah. It's a picture of Poppy's face. Poppy is a woman named Mariah Pereira. She, unlike her other albums, all 3 of her albums have her on it in some fashion. That's also kind of important in the context of Poppy. But this album specifically, she has it. I can't tell if they just black and whited the picture, or if she is painted up white, or a combination of the two. It's a black and white image. Yeah. For lack of better clarity, has her face on it. She's kind of like looking down a little bit. She's wearing a spiked collar, and on top of the picture, it looks like they've painted corpse paint. Yeah. Something that but it's not even really corpse paint. It's like they've painted some black makeup onto her face.
To me, I thought it looked like a superimposed, like, those hardcore metal band name, stylized band names. It looked like they superimposed that over her face.
Yes,
almost.
That's very apt. It does go around her eyes and outlines her mouth, so it's clearly like supposed to be on her face. It's not something that was created separately and then moved on. Necessarily. but you can tell that it's superimposed because it goes on her hair.
Yeah.
It's just straight over her hair. And you can't really see her nose, but not super fascinating. It's interesting to look at, I guess, but not a lot to talk about.
It catches your eye.
Does it?
Yeah, a little bit. I don't know. If I saw it, I'd be like, what's this?
Yeah, I guess if you flip through records, yeah.
Well, because when you see black metal, because it looks like a black metal cover,
that is fair.
And you see a girl,
that's true. Like, not a common thing.
It's like, what's that?
Which is something we'll get into maybe in this album, and maybe I should up front. You have a history, of not being that into female vocalists.
I am. And I didn't know that I didn't prepare for this because it sounds terrible, and it kind of is terrible.
I mean,
but
everyone has taste.
It was like my musical background. I straight up hardly listened to music until I was in maybe late middle school, and that's around the time that I started listening to like the Dropkick Murphys, like Tony Hawk Pro Skater soundtracks.
Yeah.
And then I met a friend, Mitch.
Yep.
And we got into metal. That's the crowd I was in, and it was like macho whatever.
Sure.
And it's like it started out, and it was like if I listened to a girl, it almost seemed like it.
Yeah,
I shouldn't have.
No, absolutely. I was actually. I think we should save this for another podcast. Maybe we'll do one just talking about our musical backgrounds and how we got into the music that we're into.
Yeah.
But I was literally thinking about this earlier today or yesterday. How musical tastes were defined in middle school and high school, and there were certain taboos. Specifically, I was thinking about pop music.
Yeah.
Right? If you were a male in middle school listening to a female-led pop vocalist, you're going to get called names.
Yeah.
You're going to get, like, made fun of.
You're getting super called names.
Yeah.
Like, you're a guy like Britney Spears or Katy Perry or whatever.
That's not kosher.
You can't do that.
It's not cool. It's not trendy. On the other hand, if you listen to a male-led pop act, such as Backstreet Boys, you're still going to get made fun of.
Yeah. If you listen to a boy band,
it's
you
like
can't
all
listen
pop,
to pop.
all pop music is made for girls.
Yeah.
If you're in middle school.
Yep.
So the only alternative is hip hop and metal.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what it came down to.
Yep.
Obviously, it's not that clear cut.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about that earlier today.
Yeah. It's
interesting.
Stigma's a crazy thing.
It is.
It'll form the rest of your life.
Yeah,
almost.
And yet here we are listening to Poppy, a female-led metal / pop act.
Yeah.
But that's kind of a tangent. Mm-hmm. We'll come back to that maybe at some point.
I could talk for hours about that.
Yeah, and it's interesting, just the psychology and stuff behind it.
Yeah.
But we're not psychologists.
I'm not. I dropped out.
We're critics. We're not even critics. We're just two dudes.
Yeah, two dudes.
Talking about music.
Charismatic dudes.
Charismatic dudes. Feedback loop, Joey.
There we go, feedback loop.
We are looping feedback into each other.
So let's... First track?
First track.
Is that what we're doing?
We're doing it.
Concrete?
Total track, before we go into that, 35-minute long.
Yeah.
Short album. We talked about short albums briefly last year. Last show. It's a short album.
It is a short album.
And it's expected in the context of Poppy, I think, because pop music is generally short.
Yeah.
All the tracks on this album are around 3.5 to 2.5 minutes.
Yeah.
Except for the last track.
Yeah.
Which we'll get to when we get there. So, track number 1, Concrete. 3.5 minutes.
Yeah. I think it's a good opener.
It's a good opener. It is a good opener. It's good for this album.
Yeah.
It's kind of a lead-in from the previous album.
Okay.
Which is, and maybe this belongs more at the end, but her previous album was mostly electronic pop music.
Okay.
There was little to no metal, but the last track or two on that album dipped into concrete stuff.
Yeah.
Right. It's the profile of Concrete is kind of like it sets the tone well for the album because it's got some like really heavy kind of dark music.
Yeah.
But it also has some really sweet and like poppy.
Dude, this song changes genres.
Yeah.
Like every 15 seconds,
yeah.
Which is why it's a great opener for this album because
which also does that.
Yeah, this whole album does that. But like the beginning heavy portion is almost like groove metal in the way that it's like you can feel it.
Yeah.
But it lasts for like 20 seconds
yep.
and then it jumps into like I wrote out a progression of it because she whispers her vocals at the
yes.
beginning, then it changes to that groove metal type thing, and then it's almost like a bubblegum pop.
Yep.
Where she's like Bury me in concrete.
Yeah, and that's very much her old aesthetic.
Yeah.
Is bubblegum pop. I mean, her first EP is Bubble Bath.
Okay.
EP. That's the name of the EP. That's where she started.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that's why it's interesting and worthy talking about the album as a full and talking about her career as a whole, which I'll get into later. But super interesting. The whole like hook of the song is bury me 6 feet deep, cover me in concrete, turn me into a street.
Yes.
Which I read a little bit about because I wasn't 100% certain, and it made sense after I read it. For the record, I looked up all of the lyrics to this album. In spite of what I said last week about me not really focusing on lyrics, I looked up the lyrics and kind of like looked into some context of it, just to kind of help me focus more, because I want to get better at it.
Yeah.
I want to get better at analyzing lyrics, because I think it's a very important part of music, despite me not listening to lyrics. But yeah, so bury me 6 feet deep, cover me in concrete, turn me into a street. She said in an interview, I believe, that it's about killing off an older version of yourself.
Yeah.
She wants to bury that part of her.
Yes.
And as far as turning her into a street, a lot of famous people, when they die, get things named after them.
Yeah.
So I think it's just kind of like she wants a street named after her.
She wants the old Poppy to die and have her own version of Dr. Martin Luther King Boulevard.
Exactly.
It's like, yeah. Which, these lyrics made me think, and I don't know this because I'm not in the know of the Poppy lore.
Sure.
But was the whole Titanic Sinclair thing going on while she was recording this album?
It's unclear.
Okay.
Titanic, Corey Mixter is Titanic Sinclair.
Mm-hmm.
He has a writing credit for the whole album, every song on the album. I don't think...
He probably wouldn't have put that lyric in there.
Right. It's not necessarily about them. For those who don't know, Poppy and Titanic Sinclair, or Mariah and Corey Mixter, were Poppy.
Yeah. Until
after this album released, I believe, or after this album was done recording. There was some nasty breakup between them. I say breakup; they weren't in a relationship, but they split. Titanic Sinclair is no longer involved in Poppy, for better or worse. Probably better.
Yeah,
we'll get into that. We'll get into that later. I forget why that was relevant, but yeah, the lyrics.
Yeah,
I don't necessarily think any of the lyrics on the song are about Corey Mixter.
Okay.
Or are about this.
I had a few notes on other songs because I didn't know. In my notes, there are all the times where I'm like, "Is this related to the?"
Yeah,
and
I don't know. It'll all make sense later. I think there has been a progression.
Okay.
Of Poppy as a character.
Okay.
Throughout the albums, so I think this is just the next step of that transition. Is she wants the old Poppy dead?
Yeah.
Right. Does the artist want Poppy dead, or does the character the artist is playing want Poppy dead?
Yeah.
Not 100% clear.
But maybe that's the point.
Yeah, it's art. It's all subjective.
I did want to say, this song ends on like a 90s girl country, like a Shania Twain almost sound, and it's awesome. Like, somehow you can go from like, because there's like a hardcore breakdown in the middle of like
and it's not the only one on this album.
Yeah, I know. Like, you're listening to like any metal that ends in core, like it has a breakdown. This sounds like it. Yeah, and it's just
100%.
Somehow they can go from that to like
instantly
Shania Twain,
like within a measure.
Yeah, seamlessly too.
There's a break and it all makes sense.
Yeah,
like, well, maybe not makes sense,
but it works.
But it works. Yeah, and it sounds good and it's appealing, and that's what I like about this album. And it's more so in a lot of the other songs, but even in this song, it's new metal. It's kind of core metal.
Yeah,
right. But it also has a lot of pop elements, and it's very catchy.
Yeah.
Which a lot of metal, especially in the core genres, right, aren't necessarily catchy.
Yeah.
But they're good. I listen to a lot of it. I say a lot of it. I listen to some core, some like hardcore punk, and some other cores and grindcore.
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of what I like about this album. And maybe we're spending too long. I don't know. We're spending too long on this track.
But like, the album.
It's because it's kind of a theme throughout the whole album, and it's. Like, with the cores and whatever, there's almost a barrier of entry. Kind of like with black metal, calling back to why we even picked this album.
Right.
It's like there's this insular circle of people who like it, and they're like,
fuck it,
get out. Yeah, like, whatever. We don't care. Like, if you like it, cool, but, like, we're not going to try to form music to make you like it. And it's almost like this can break
Yeah, it's a gateway.
Entry. Yeah.
It's a gateway, and I think this is where the podcast alone, separately, and I might actually talk about this at work because we have kind of a stand-up thing every month where someone just gets up and talks about whatever.
Yeah.
I'm very interested in musical gateways.
Yeah.
And finding tracks or artists that can bridge gaps for people.
Oh, yeah.
To get them. Because I think at its core, any person can like any genre or...
Yes.
I don't want to say any artist.
Yeah.
But to an extent, you can understand a lot of music better. You just have to find the right gateways.
Exactly. You have to have the right setup and the right context before you listen to it. Because it's like, if you've never listened to any sort of metal or whatever and you instantly go to the hardest shit, it's like...
Yeah, you're not going to like it
you're gonna sound like one of those old ladies. It's like, are they just screaming? Like,
I can't hear anything they're saying. So I think that this album has the potential to bring a lot of pop fans into metal and eventually maybe into like hardcore stuff. Yeah. Which is good. Yeah. It's and I think, is good. And I think it's interesting given the context of her discography, which a lot of the things we're discussing will make perfect sense once I kind of sum it all up at the end. Yeah. So if you're listening, hang on, we'll get there. If you listened to this album with us, which is unlikely because we have not posted the previous one yet.
But if you've listened to this album at all.
Yeah, I mean, if you listen to this album at all, without the full context, there are probably a lot of questions or a lot of things that you can infer but aren't sure about, and it will all make sense by the end. With that said, we're going to go on to the next track. I Disagree. Yeah. This is the title track. Mm-hmm. I think it's my favorite track on the album. Really? It's very catchy.
I do like it.
It is so catchy.
It is very catchy. I've been all day, pretty much all week, the intro where she's like, Watashi wa anati ni doi shamisen. Like
she so the song starts out with her kind of whisper chanting some Japanese at you. I'm assuming you looked it up.
I did.
I also looked it up. Okay. Surprise, she's saying I disagree. Yeah. Right, it's the name of the album, it's the name of the track. It's roughly translated to I disagree with you. Yeah. But it's interesting because I would say the next closest artist to Poppy on this album is Baby Metal. Yeah, definitely. As far as that I've heard. I'm sure there are others out there. Yeah. But so it's interesting that she has kind of the Japanese culture thing, which isn't the first time for her. Mm-hmm. She's referred to Japanese as far back as her first album. But yeah, so it kind of like has this interesting like quiet hip hoppy almost feel to it. Yeah. And she's just chanting like this phrase.
And like with the bell in the background throughout it like kind of like in the I guess it's the chorus or the verse. It's like ding, like in the background there's an almost not offbeat, but it's like it gets you into a groove while she's I guess
we should maybe play it. Okay. Just a little bit of it.
Just a little bit of it.
We'll play the beginning. So here's the beginning. And then it'll have a breakdown here in a second.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just good.
It's good.
It's just good.
It's real good.
Should I keep going?
So if you're trying to find a specific part, and apologies to everyone listening, we probably should have thought about this a little bit more ahead of time, but it's fine. We're doing this live. We'll figure it out.
We'll do it live.
He's trying to resume. There we go.
Yeah, like it turns... I'm going to stop it because it's just cool to me. It is. That she can transfer from, I don't want to call it rapping because
it's chanting. It's spoken word, I guess.
But like from that where there's almost like it's almost like the only instrument is the cymbal, the bell, whatever, just kind of keeping the time, and it's almost I don't want to say it's offbeat, but it's like that groove to where it's almost swingy or something. Yeah. So to where you're like...
It feels good.
Yeah. And then it can instantly change to metal. And
it's flawless. Yeah. And not only does it instantly change to metal, it's a metal guitar with a very poppy like vocal melody to it. Right? And that's why this is my favorite track on the album, is that the chorus of it is so fucking catchy to me. And I don't know what it is, but that song gets stuck in my head on a daily basis. Yeah. And it's fucking insane. I cursed. We still haven't decided if we're doing that.
I think we should, because it's gonna happen.
It is. So maybe we we give it our best foot forward, but if it happens, it happens.
I'm pretty good at not cursing.
Yeah, you have a child.
I do have a child, but it's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen.
When I talk about music, it's gonna happen.
Absolutely. Overall, lyrically, I think it's a pretty simple, straightforward song.
Yeah.
She disagrees.
She does
with
disagree.
what she's being told.
Yeah.
I think more context is, as you mentioned kind of at the beginning, or maybe that was off podcast, she changed labels for this album.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's some context there. She was on Mad Decent for this album. She is signed to Sumerian. It's just Sumerian Music?
Sumerian Records, Sumerian Music,
Records.
something, but they're more
They're
metal.
more of a metal act, right? Mad Decent is more of like a hip-hop.
Yeah. Because that's Diplo's record.
It's Diplo's label. But yeah, so I think it's clear lyrically that she doesn't like being told certain things from certain people. And so this is kind of her, and this whole album to an extent is kind of her dealing with that. Saying, fuck you, I'm going to do what I want to do. And
she did it well.
She did it well. And that's,
it's
something. If you haven't listened to this album yet, and you're not intrigued by this, I don't know what's wrong with you, but go listen to that album.
Yeah.
It's a fun, weird, groovy experience.
I didn't think I was going to like this album.
I also
didn't
think you were going to like this album at all.
I liked it.
I'm glad. That's why we're doing this.
I'll save the full unadulterated reason why I liked it for the end, but I did like it.
And that makes me happy because that's part of the podcast.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, we want to discover new music, but also, as we kind of touched on before the podcast started, we're also going to kind of continue this trend of sharing albums that one of us is familiar with.
Yeah.
Because it allows someone to speak a bit more concisely about it. Maybe not concisely, but coherently. Yeah,
because there's no chance in hell I would have listened to this album if you hadn't been like, let's listen to this album.
Yeah. It's something.
Yeah.
I can't think of words for it. But yeah, next track we got Blood Money, another 3-minute track. I Disagree was also around 3 minutes. Most of these tracks are about 3 minutes. I'm not going to bother commenting on it until the last track, I guess, because it is notably longer. Blood Money. This was one of the singles.
So I have a question before this even started.
Yeah.
Like, I think this is the one. What is it? Is it this one?
Are you thinking of the Marilyn Manson?
The Marilyn Manson, yeah.
That is not this track.
Okay.
That is Fill the Crown.
Okay. Well, then I'll get to that.
We will get to that. And now everyone listening is like, wait, is Marilyn Manson on this album? Stay tuned. You'll find out, maybe. Yeah. Blood Money is a bit more like industrial kind of rock sounding one.
I'm playing it in my head now.
Yeah. This is the one... What is the hook? It's she's talking about what do you believe when no one else is watching?
It's what do you believe when everyone is watching?
Yes.
What do you believe when no one is watching? Which I think it's a good lyric.
Yeah,
because it's just
this song is very much, I think, about hypocrisy.
Yeah,
and maybe a bit more specifically in a religious context.
Yeah,
right. Which I think she comes back to, or maybe this is the track. I listened to this album so many times, but I've never dissociated each track.
Yeah, well, it flows pretty well. Like,
I think it is this one.
Yeah,
that she says, "Beg for forgiveness from Jesus the Christ."
Yes, that's this song.
Yeah, I believe. Yeah, I think that's right. We could play it. Yeah, if
I'm going to bring up something, and I didn't know if you'd want to play it, which is why.
Sure.
To give some context. We got this pulled up on the TV. I just changed the track from I Disagree to Blood Money just in case.
Yeah.
Because there's something I wanted to bring up. So it starts off with an electronic industrial break. And it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's cool. And then it kind of goes back to the chorus. It's got this kind of...
It's a bit more spacey.
Yeah, spacey, kind of chill music. And then the second time it goes into that electro-industrial...
Yeah.
There's a sound clip in there that I think is from a Tony Hawk game.
Oh, really?
I think it's
Do you have a timestamp for it?
I don't have an exact timestamp.
We should find it.
I'm going to find it really, really quick.
Yeah,
really quick.
Never forget the excessive man.
Yes. It's this one. Okay. It's almost here. That!
Yeah.
It's when you pick up a VHS tape on the original Tony Hawk game.
I never associated with that, but yeah, that totally sounds like it could be the sound of picking up a collectible in the original Tony Hawk Pro Skater game.
It's whenever you pick up the VHS tapes.
Yeah,
that's totally what it is.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It's great.
Yeah, so that song was very an interesting midsection to the song that is kind of overwhelming. It's kind of noisy.
Yeah.
I used noisy when we were talking about Glyceriffer. But it's cool.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Noisy's good.
I mean, it's industrial. It's kind of industrial, kind of like a weird electronic thing.
Yeah, I definitely got, like, a lot of the metal sections on this, I got an industrial vibe from it.
Yeah, this album is kind of like a weird mixture of, like, electronic and industrial and, like, new metal and, like, pop.
Yeah.
It's kind of just all kind of mashed together. And then there's some weird, like folksier kind of stuff, even.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned in the first track.
Yeah.
Where it kind of has this weird, almost country-esque
at the end.
to it. But yeah, that's why we're talking about this album.
Yeah.
It's great.
It's a great album.
Next track, Anything Like Me. This one is pretty clear.
Yeah.
For me, that has context. Maybe even for you, that doesn't have context. This song, I believe, and I believe a lot of people believe, is specifically about the other Poppy.
That's what I thought. That's what I got from it.
Yes. So I guess I can fill that gap here. Yeah. Before Titanic Sinclair met Mariah and made Poppy, Titanic Sinclair was dating the singer of another band, and in her band, Mars Argo is the name of the band. I think it's Brittany Sheets is her name. I probably should have looked that up beforehand. I'm pretty confident it's Brittany Sheets. So Brittany Sheets and Corey Mixter, Titanic Sinclair, made Mars Argo, and they were dating. And there's a big emphasis, at least up until this point, on the style of Poppy and the type of content that Poppy releases. And a lot of it is suspiciously similar to stuff Titanic Sinclair was doing with Brittany Mars Argo before they broke up.
Yeah.
So Brittany and Titanic Sinclair broke up. I keep calling him Titanic Sinclair instead of Corey Mixter, just out of familiarity. But they broke up. Then he found Poppy. He found Mariah. They made Poppy. And there's a lot of similarities that maybe lead you to believe maybe Corey Titanic Sinclair isn't necessarily in the best place mentally to take from his old projects and kind of mold it into new, which I guess happens.
Yeah.
But there's a lot more context I'll provide at the end of the album, which makes me think it's maybe not a healthy thing. But yeah, so this song is Anything Like Me. It's a whole spiel about you shouldn't be anything like me. You'll never be anything like me.
Yeah.
And I think those lyrics specifically are supposed to be from Britney's perspective.
Yeah.
Telling Poppy, like, no, you shouldn't be anything like me. You have to be completely different.
Yeah.
I don't want you, like, imitating me.
Yeah.
And I think this is just them kind of not necessarily spitting in the face. I think this is a hard album to talk about contextually in the real world setting because there was a lot of drama specifically encapsulated in this track, but in real life they were in a lawsuit.
Yeah.
Mars Argo, Brittany Sheets, sued Titanic Sinclair.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if there's been an outcome to that yet.
I
probably should have looked it up as well.
I don't think there has.
But basically, Poppy was stealing literal wardrobes. Like, in a lot of her YouTube videos, she was dressed up exactly like Mars Argo was in some of Mars Argo's music videos. And there were a lot of similarities in the what the video was saying, even. Like, he was essentially, Corey Mixter was dating Britney, they broke up, and Corey Mixter found someone else to project Britney onto.
Yeah.
Is what it seems like. Which is understandably upsetting for Britney's perspective.
Yeah.
I don't think Corey Mixter was right in doing so, per se. But, I mean, it brought us to this album.
Yeah.
So, separating artist from art, we're going to continue.
Yeah.
Unless you have anything else you'd like to say about this track.
No, there was a point near the end where there's kind of a spacey guitar that reminded me of the end of Redbone by Childish Gambino. Yeah. Kind of the reverby, spacey guitar, which I said before we started the podcast that I had looked up the producers, and that's why I wanted to make sure. I was like, is it the same person who did that? Because it's just a cool guitar sound. I liked it.
Yep.
The end of this song made me realize that I like Poppy's vocals.
Yeah,
I like she sings.
That's a big step.
She sings really well.
I think that's an interesting big step.
It is
coming from someone who, as mentioned previously, didn't like female vocals.
Yeah.
So that's interesting to me. And I agree. I think she can sing very well.
Yeah.
And also, I think at this point in the album, if not before it, at this point, there are some screams from Poppy in the background. Just like they're kind of like one and done kind of things. There's not like she's screaming like a chorus or screaming words per se.
Yeah.
But you can hear her like just screaming in terror or whatever in the background, which I think is kind of an interesting touch. And that happens throughout the album a little bit.
Yeah.
I probably need to stop shaking the table so much because it keeps rattling the cup.
Oh no.
But it's fine. But yeah, so this song is kind of like a lot of the songs. It goes up and down as far as like intense hardcore stuff.
Yeah.
And less expected poppier kind of chorus stuff. But that's going to be a recurring thing. That has been a recurring thing. But yeah, good track.
Definitely.
Clearly about Mars Argo, in my opinion. But next track is Fill the Crown.
This is the one I was talking about.
This is the one you were talking about. This was another single for the album.
With a music video.
With a music video. Did you watch the music video?
I watched the music video.
Good.
It was a cool music video.
It's an interesting music video, and I think it gives more context to the fact that she is moving away from old Poppy.
Yeah.
For those who haven't seen it, go watch it. But if you don't want to watch it, it starts off with her emerging from some like pod,
cryo chamber
pod thing. And there's two pods in this room. She walks over and sees a version of herself in the other pod that has notably what looks like a circuit board implanted inside of her. This is relevant because her previous album, Am I a Girl?
Oh, yeah.
Was,
okay.
Was in character, Poppy was an android. She was created. There's like a whole lore to this shit.
Okay, what?
So she was an android on the previous album.
Yeah.
That was made in a factory. She wasn't really sure what she was, and her last album was kind of dealing with that.
Yeah.
This album, specifically in the music video for the song, is very clearly her getting away from that.
Yeah.
In canon, I guess, it is. She has transferred her soul into a new body.
Yeah.
That is not a robot, yet looks exactly like her old body. Whatever. It's science fiction. It's fine. It's cool. Second most notable part of this song to me is the vocalist. There is a male vocalist.
Is it Marilyn Manson?
That sounds like Marilyn Manson.
Because it sounds so much like him.
It sounds nearly identical to him, you might say. So the thing is, there was a lot of speculation on this track. No credits have been given.
Okay.
Nobody knows if that's Marilyn Manson or not. Another, at the time, leading fan theory, at the time of this music video coming out that I saw, was that it was Ghostmane.
Ghost? Okay.
Who is a rapper, apparently.
Okay.
I hadn't listened to him. I looked up one track just to see if I could compare the vocals.
Yeah.
It's not him.
Okay.
She came out and said it was not Ghostmane. They were dating at the time, which I think is why there was that stigma. But it's fake.
Okay.
It's not Ghostmane. Is it Marilyn Manson? I don't know.
Yeah.
It could be. It could not be. We don't know.
I'm putting my bets in that
it sounds so much like
Marilyn Manson. It has to be him.
Which is cool because it means if that is the case, then Marilyn Manson has not only heard of Poppy, but has agreed to be on an album with Poppy.
Which seems like something he could do.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean he as a person is a very interesting dude, obviously, but he's a very cool dude.
Yeah.
He has very grounded, I think, ideas and perceptions on the music industry and society as a whole. Yeah. Like, if you haven't listened to Marilyn Manson, if you haven't somehow heard of Marilyn Manson, I don't know how that happens.
Watch his Bill O'Reilly interview if you want.
Yeah, he's an interesting person. And I think there is a stigma about Marilyn Manson specifically, which he cultivated.
Yeah, he totally did.
It's not unfair.
Or he played into it at least.
Yeah, absolutely. Where he's some antichrist, whatever.
Like the whole Satan and rock and roll, metal, whatever.
Yeah, he ran with it.
Yeah.
It's all in good fun.
Yeah.
He's not Satan.
Yeah, he's definitely I can't say definitively one way or the other.
That is fair. That is fair. Maybe we should get into.
I've never met Satan, so
that's true. Check out his music.
Yeah.
It might be hard to get into. So maybe if we do a podcast on musical gateways, we can kind of like maybe we can focus on even artists.
Yeah. Well, I feel like this album.
Yeah, that's true.
A good gateway.
That's true. So if you listen to Blood Money by Poppy, which has strikingly Marilyn Manson-esque vocals, and you like it, maybe check out some of Marilyn Manson's other stuff. There's a lot of weird shit in Marilyn Manson's discography that may be still hard to follow. Yeah. But it's worth a listen. Yeah. He has some good hits.
I agree.
And I haven't listened to his entire discography.
Yeah, I haven't either.
But what I've heard I like.
Yeah.
It's interesting enough. Another band which is very similar, I think, that could be a gateway, which I'm derailing this podcast, and I apologize. Avatar is a big band currently that has similar vocals, in my opinion. Yeah, I agree. If you weren't crazy about Blood Money, but maybe liked his vocals in it, but like Avatar, go listen to Marilyn Manson. Yeah, I think it's a clear influence for Avatar. Yeah, not a band that I personally enjoy. Yeah. But
we did see them live, though.
We did. we both saw them live. But that's we've derailed.
We have totally.
We need to rein it back in. "Fill the Crown" is the track we're talking about. The music video is her leaving her robot self. Yeah. Becoming the next iteration of Poppy that is more human, and also there's this dark figure that could be like a Satan-esque figure, right? So maybe she made a deal. Yeah. With him to get out of her robot form.
It's leading back into, I guess, the religion that she could have talked about in Blood Money.
Yeah, and I realized I was looking at the track.
Oh, you were saying Blood Money instead of Fill the Crown.
I meant Fill the Crown for all of this. Because Blood Money was the last track we played.
We'll fix it in post.
We'll fix it in post, because we have a post crew. We have a wide team. But yeah, this definitely has a religious feel to it. Yeah. I would take it as far as I guess it's not really a stretch. At some point, she mentions poisoning families and poisoning the children. Yeah. Or I guess not Marilyn Manson. Yeah. Sings about like poisoning the families, the children, the leaders being blind. Yeah. A lot of that kind of reeks of religion. Yeah. Right. The second thing religion is known for, other than being "God Save Me," is that religion is a cult. Yeah, and infecting the minds of the masses. It's brainwashing.
It's the opiate of the masses.
It's the opiate
as
of the
that
masses.
One guy said once.
That one guy. Also, very Marilyn Manson.
Yeah, that's a super Marilyn Manson viewpoint. Like,
yeah. So it's not a stretch to say it's Marilyn Manson on the track, but we don't know. Yeah, which is kind of upsetting to me.
Yeah, I want to know.
Knowing things.
I want to know.
But yeah, it's an interesting track. It's not my favorite track on the album, musically, but it's good. Yeah, I don't think there's a bad track on this album personally. But
honestly, I don't either.
Cool.
There was no
point where just like, eh.
Especially because all the tracks are 3 minutes long.
That's true. That's true. They don't stick around too long.
Yeah. So they present their ideas. They change enough that it keeps you engaged.
It's very fresh. Every 30 seconds, it's a new song.
Yeah, exactly.
Which could be a turn-off for some, I suppose. I know specifically our friend Levi doesn't even like it when like Kendrick Lamar has 2 sections of a song.
So he didn't like To Pimp a Butterfly. Is that what you're saying?
I don't know. I'll have to ask him about that.
You better ask him.
But even on Kendrick's first album, we're derailing a little bit again. But
shit.
But even on Kendrick's first album, there are several songs that are 2 songs kind of combined into one, like The Art of Peer Pressure and stuff like that. Do I need to pull up my phone recorder? You keep looking at this like it's about to die.
I just started recording on my phone because we have 1 minute left on this recorder, so...
Oh, really? Yeah. That's sketchy. I will do the same right now. Okay. Anyways, we're good. We're going to keep this playing. I can't move my phone over.
I didn't want to distract you, but I was like, oh my god, this is vital right now.
That is vital. And I saw you pull it up ahead of time, and I was like, maybe I should do the same. I should have just went with it instead of calling it out, but we're still working out the kinks on this podcast. So next time we'll make sure we have our shit together.
I thought 400 megabytes would be enough space.
Yeah, I wonder what the quality is like on this thing. For context for the listeners... Last episode we recorded strictly on our phones, which was okay. Yeah, not great quality.
It was fine enough.
What ended up happening is that we each had our own file that had ourselves being clearer than the other because of the way we positioned our phones. and there was still a lot of background noise that was picked up. Joey has a recording device. I'm not really sure what it's called.
Tascam.
A Tascam.
Shout out to Tascam.
Shout out to Tascam. It's a little microphone recorder that has a SIM card in it. Or not a SIM card, a SD card, a micro SD card. So we're recording on that for now. Yeah. And now on our phones as well.
For the first 40 minutes.
Has it been 40 minutes?
It's been 40 minutes.
Oh, man, this is a longer one.
Let's keep going.
We're going. We'll try to get through this because I've got... Maybe the last section is going to have a bit more spiel to it, so this might be an hour long. But we're going to keep on going. The next track, after Fill the Crown, is Nothing I Need. Another 3-minute song-ish. It's the halfway point of the album.
Yeah. I like it because it starts off almost like R&B.
Yeah.
It's very, like, slow,
it's a very
groovy,
it's the center of the storm.
Yeah.
It's the eye of the storm, and that, like, it's in the middle. It's the middle track, if there could be one.
Yeah.
Half the album is gone, and this is just kind of like a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
It's like taking a break. It's saying, hey, we've just drowned you in all of these weird sounds and this metal and this back and forth. We're gonna take a second just to, like, relax.
Yeah. Especially because Fill the Crown, it kind of ends on, like, an indie pop vibe, and then it goes into
it flows very well.
Yeah.
I think. Lyrically, because I care so much about lyrics.
You're a lyric man.
I'm a lyric man, if ever there was one. Lyrically, it's mostly, it seems to me, about releasing material possession.
Yeah.
And taking a step back and saying, I don't need this shit.
Yeah.
The song is Nothing I Need.
Yeah.
Right? It's focusing on where you are, with what you have, and not chasing after, superstardom.
Yeah.
Or more money or more things. It's just kind of saying, I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'm good. And I think that's a good message.
It is a good message.
And it ties in to, I think it's the next one, maybe not, or maybe it's this one. No, it is. It ties into track 8 a little bit, I think, with Bite Your Teeth. But I'll explain that when we get there. Jumping ahead.
You're my guide.
I'm guiding you through this. Well, I mean, not necessarily from any particular context.
Yeah, okay.
But I think it sets up something that is returned to.
Okay.
In Bite Your Teeth. But yeah, Nothing I Need is very chill. Yeah. It's short. I think it's the shortest track on the album, right? It's 2 minutes, 50 seconds. But it's a nice reprieve from the chaos that is this album.
Which it's good that the album can set it up that way. I like being taken on a journey.
Yeah.
And journeys get rough, but then they get better. It's like, I don't know.
And it's something that doesn't happen specifically in pop music often.
Yeah.
Rarely is a pop album a complete experience, for lack of a better word, or adventure.
It's more like a list of singles.
It's a list of singles, which it sells. Yeah. And that's why they do it.
I can make $1 million doing it. I'd do it.
And this is maybe it'll be worth talking about in the ending and the wrap up. This is from an artist named Poppy.
Yeah, she's super poppy. Not going with single, but crafting an album, which is not something that happens in pop often. Not that it doesn't happen ever, but it's not often that it happens. So that's interesting. The track immediately after is Sit Stay. It ramps right back up. Yeah, it goes hard immediately.
Yeah.
It's like a Euro dance beat just immediately into the song, which is, I like Euro dance. So
it's
I'm
fun.
For it.
Yeah, Sit Stay. Lyrically, this is actually the track that I was referring to. Okay. So it makes sense that it's right after it.
Yeah.
It seems to me, at least in one line, she says, "Welcome to the new starting line."
Yeah.
Something about not being blinded by the stars in your eyes.
Yes.
Or something, which seems to me like a warning to people that are new in the industry, right? Someone starting out that's chasing stardom.
Yeah.
That's saying, I want this. You need to say, hey, you need to, like, slow down.
Yeah.
You need to take a breath. You need to, like, not be blinded by this. Like, you don't need to end up like all these stars. You need to like focus on what you have.
Yeah. And I also got the vibe she was saying to stay away from it because you'll end up being powerless.
Yeah.
Like, which this also made me think that it was written at a time
where there was some
tumultuous relations between them, because maybe she felt powerless in the situation that she had entered with Titanic Sinclair.
And that could be the case.
Yeah.
But if that was the case, she was still working with Titanic for this entire album.
Yeah. So
she might have passed it off as the guise of like, fuck the label.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to do my own thing. Which at the end of the song, she's just like repeating, I will not obey.
Yeah.
Which I didn't catch. It's very quiet and under a lot of noise at the end of the track.
Yeah.
I had to listen back to it after I found out about this. But it's almost hidden like a whisper of her just like saying, I will not obey. I will not.
Maybe she added that in post.
It could be. So yeah, it seems kind of like a finger to the industry.
Yeah.
To me, or to Titanic Sinclair.
Yeah.
You know. But it's like I said, I think it's more important as a warning to others, saying like, you're going to get controlled, or people are going to try to manipulate you in this industry. Don't let it happen.
Yeah.
You know, don't get so blinded by money that you're willing to do anything.
Yeah.
Focus on who you are and your evolution as a person and your growth.
I like it.
Indeed. Which also ties into the next track. So these three tracks after this break are kind of all connected in my mind, in my head canon.
Yeah.
Bite Your Teeth is the next track, another shortish song.
2:42.
2:42. I had to look up the meaning of this per se.
Mm-hmm.
The Bite Your Teeth. It's a quote that they heard, or that she heard, from Alan Watts, which I should have looked into who he is. I didn't.
He's great.
I don't know who Alan Watts is, but he's quoted as saying, trying to define yourself is like trying to bite your own teeth.
Yes.
Which is interesting. It's a good quote. It's a good song.
To all the listeners out there, listen to everything Alan Watts has available.
We could take a quick sidebar. Who's Alan Watts? And why should I care?
Okay, so he was a philosophy, I'm pretty sure he was a professor. I know he gave, like, not
lectures.
Seminars, lectures. Yeah, lectures would be the word. On philosophy about freeing yourself, I guess that's how I took it. I mean, I guess it's open to interpretation.
Sure.
But he was the guy...
As philosophy is wont to do.
Yeah. He talked about... One of the most memorable things I can remember is him talking about humans like to put things in boxes, and straight lines never appear in nature.
Right.
So
labeling things, defining things.
Yeah. And just talking about becoming a wiggle and define... It was the Bigger Wiggle. Look that up. Bigger Wiggle.
Bigger Wiggle.
Alan Watts. It's an intense lecture just talking about how we have a need to define things, a need to put labels on things, and then put those labels in boxes, and how it's pointless.
It's so pointless that it's like trying to bite your own teeth.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is the point of the song. It's not something that can be done, really, or shouldn't be done.
Yeah, definitely not. Biting your own teeth would hurt.
How would you... Like, I mean, you can't even...
That sound.
Yeah, it's not great. Musically... this track, I think, has the biggest breakdown at the end of it. Worth listening to.
Definitely.
As is this whole album. But...
Especially because, tying back to I Disagree and how you said she had Japanese influence in the past, and you related it to Baby Metal, I think it's the first chorus, sounds just like a J-pop song.
Yeah.
Like...
Yeah, I think Poppy is very much influenced by Japanese culture. Yeah. Which I think is interesting. It makes for a good album.
Yeah, definitely.
And honestly, like, I don't know this, but I feel like there's possibly some overlap in the crew of this album and maybe Baby Metal. Maybe that's a stretch.
I could see it.
I should probably look into that before claiming something as ridiculous as that. Considering Baby Metal is in Japan.
Yeah.
But very similar feels, I think. I wouldn't say I'm the biggest Baby Metal fan, but I enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's fun to listen to sometimes. But that's not what we're here for.
No. Well, not yet.
Not yet.
We can at some point.
Yeah, I mean, I guess at some point we could. But yeah, so there's this huge breakdown at the end. That's kind of like a climax of like the second half of this album.
Definitely.
And the reason I say that is because the next track, Sick of the Sun, is very like
slow.
It's very slow. It's kind of shoegazy. It's kind of like it's floaty.
It's my favorite song.
Is it?
It's my favorite song.
Interesting. Why is it your favorite song?
Okay, so I just like the guitar comes in and it's super reverby, spacey. I like shoegaze type music, I guess, where you can just kind of space out to it. Her vocal melody, it reminds me, like, it's one of those things that, like, it makes me nostalgic for, like, a song that I don't even think I've ever listened to.
That is a great review of a song if I ever heard one.
Like, it just takes me back to a place, but it's like I can't place where I know it from.
Yeah, and I think that's something music in general is good at. Is if it's done well, like this song, it kind of captures a feeling.
Yeah.
In words, in melodies, in structure. I think the song is, in my opinion, pretty clearly about being in a depression.
Yes.
Kind of thing. I'm sick of the sun. It needs to go away.
Yeah.
I just want to be locked in a room by myself.
Yeah.
And just kind of wallow in my sadness.
Definitely.
Kind of a thing. Which is a very interesting thing lyrically going on in this album. I think that's not necessarily out of place, but it sticks out to me as not necessarily coherent with the rest of the album.
Yeah.
But it works.
Yeah.
I love this track. Not my favorite track, I don't think, but it's a good way to tie up the album.
Yeah, because with it being the second to last track, I think it does a great job of kind of transitioning to the end. Where it's like you had the middle of the album kind of slow down, like break, the eye of the storm, and then this is kind of like rounding it out for the end.
Absolutely. And so it's almost like a play.
Yeah.
In like 3 acts in a way, and we're entering the third act, the resolution after that climax of Bite Your Teeth.
Yeah.
Where it just ends on that heavy breakdown. Kind of goes into this chill thing, and it's good. I think it's good for her to write about this stuff if she's feeling that depression.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a big mental health advocate. Go get help.
Even if you don't need it.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone has something that they can talk about therapy, and I think it'll do you some good.
To just maintain, like...
Yeah, being a human's hard.
It is.
Life sucks.
How my old motto used to be, existing is exhausting, and it just is.
Gotcha. It is, and it perpetuates.
Yeah.
So go get help if you need help, or... Honestly, music is therapy sometimes.
Yeah.
I think even just hearing songs when you're in a specific mindset or mood can help you get out of it or change your perspective on things, or at the very least relating to it.
Yeah,
right. That's the root of all like pop music.
Yeah,
is being relatable.
Yeah,
right. Obviously, it's been bastardized to an extreme.
Oh yeah,
but I think it's that's why music has such power is being able to relate to it.
Yeah, especially because like. You can't put... There's some things you just can't put into words.
Yeah.
And it's like...
And if you can find music to do that for you.
Yeah.
Like the song does. Like you said, it makes you feel nostalgic for something that maybe didn't even exist.
Yeah.
It's just... It takes you to maybe a time period or even like just a feeling, an emotion that maybe you had at one point in your life, and you kind of relate on a deeper level than just lyrics.
Yeah.
Which is fascinating.
Yeah, because it wasn't even the lyrics, it was her vocal melody on top of the guitars, and then like the layered vocals in like that first chorus. It was just something about it. I can't...
Yeah, you can't define it.
Yeah, I can't describe it.
Yeah, and that's totally... That's what music's for. I think it's great. Leading us to the ultimate track, the final track, Don't Go Outside. This is very much a good ending track.
Yeah. In
the sense that if this is a 3-act play, it finishes what it needs to finish, and then even at the end, this is a 6-minute song.
Yeah.
Which is twice the length of most of the other tracks. And the reason for that is there's like an initial song.
Yeah.
Which is Don't Go Outside.
Yeah.
Which to me sounds a bit like she's criticizing fear-mongering in general from the media. That's what I got out of it.
Yeah.
Was that like you shouldn't go outside. There's no reason to go outside. It's chaos. It's shitty. Like stay inside, be in your cocoon. Yeah. Which makes me think of fear-mongering.
Yeah, because there's a lyric in there that's like, suck the fear in through your eyes.
Yeah.
Talking like in the previous line was about television.
Yep.
So it's...
Yeah.
Especially because it comes after Sick of the Sun, and then saying, don't go outside.
Yeah, it's like, I'm depressed. Don't go outside.
Yeah.
Just stay where you are. be in your...
Be complacent.
Yeah.
Or something. I don't know.
Be afraid, be sad, be whatever.
Yeah.
Just don't think for yourself.
Yeah.
Don't go outside. Don't form your own opinions. Don't look for answers.
Yeah.
Just stay where you are. Which maybe that's a bit of an extreme thought process to follow for me, but that's what I got out of it. The last half of the track is kind of a reprisal.
Yeah.
Right? Which is done, I think, a lot in theater. And it brings back lyrics and melodies from prior tracks.
Yeah.
A couple tracks, notably. I think it has I Disagree.
Yeah.
The chorus from I Disagree. I feel like it brings in a bit of Concrete as well from the beginning of the album.
I remember it bringing in Concrete.
Yeah. So it's kind of an interesting way to end the album, kind of like flashing back through it and saying, this is where we started. Well, this is where we are.
The way the second half kicks off, like, we talk about changing genres so much.
Yeah.
It almost goes into something that reminds me of Rush.
Yeah.
Like, the guitars and the drums, like, it almost sounds like it's starting a Rush song.
Yeah.
And I love Rush. Like,
Joey's a huge Rush fan. I enjoy Rush.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Neil Peart.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
That's
it just hit me, and I was like, I haven't heard this before, but I know this sound.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And I think there's a lot of that in a lot of her music is that it is very much its own thing.
Yeah.
But there's a lot that you can pull in and relate, like, maybe not as a direct inspiration. Do I know if Poppy's listen to Rush? I don't.
Yeah.
But is it a good guess that they have, or someone on that team has? Yeah, probably.
And to me, it makes sense, given that she's Poppy. It seems to be very much in the pop culture.
Right.
And if you're taking inspiration from taking things that people know, and forming them into your own, like, that's internet culture. That's memes. That's cover albums. Like, you're just taking other things that people have made and kind of
making it your own.
Making it your own, forming your own thing.
Yeah, making something new, which I think has value.
Yeah,
I think there's absolutely value in it. Yes, obviously, you shouldn't just do covers.
Yeah.
Right. If you're wanting to be a band, you shouldn't limit yourself and say, I'm only going to do pre-existing songs.
Yeah.
Because that'll get stale, and it's not nearly as creative as creating. Right. Yeah, there are some really good covers. There's no doubt about that, and there's no denying that covers can change the mood of a song and make it into something else. But it's also very important to make your own style and sound, which I think Poppy's done.
Oh, yeah.
I think she is there's a constant trend of artists trying to mix genres currently.
Yeah.
I think that's happening. And maybe it's been happening longer and I just haven't focused on it. But everyone wants to find something new, and they're getting that by pulling in aspects of various genres and kind of matching them together and seeing what works.
Yeah.
And it works because it's interesting, it's new, it's something to talk about.
Definitely.
And in this case, it's fun to listen to.
Yeah.
It's interesting to listen to.
It definitely is.
And I think they nailed it. So that's the end of the album. What did you think of the album? And then I'll give a lot more context for things. I
was extremely surprised by this album because, like you said, in the past, I have had an aversion away from female vocalists.
Sure.
Which I've been actively making an effort to fix because, I don't know, originally it kind of started off as I can't, well, we talked about the whole thing in high school. It's like, I can't listen to it because it's taboo. And then
it's not cool.
Yeah, and then it kind of turned into I can't really relate because I'm a guy. I can't relate to that.
Yeah, women have their problems, men have their problems.
I got my problem. Which is just dumb.
It's foolish.
Yeah.
100%. It's ignorant. And
then, lately, punk rock is actually what got me into it because... We'll save this for another thing, but like bands like Bikini Kill and stuff like that.
Never heard of them.
Yeah, it's
female
punk rock bands.
That sounds like something I would enjoy.
Yeah, there you go.
Because ironically, or maybe not ironically, but there very much was that stigma when we were younger of listening to female vocals. Not cool.
Yeah.
You're going to get made fun of.
Yeah.
I think, honestly, now, where I'm at, is I enjoy female vocalists 10 times more often than I do male vocalists.
Really?
And I'm not sure why that is. Maybe 10 times is a bit extreme. I don't have anything against most male vocalists, but I think I have a tendency to listen to more female-led music now, which is weird.
They could have came. No, I don't want to be couch psychologist, whatever.
No, that's what this is for. This is therapy, right?
We've listened to just only exclusively male and
that's true.
Our whole lives, whatever. So it's a different sound.
You're exploring it.
Yeah,
it's something new. It's a new land.
There's a lot of male vocalists you can listen to and just be like, I know that guy. Like,
yeah, I've heard him 100 times.
Yeah, I've heard him so many times.
Yeah.
Like whatever. And now it seems like there are more good female vocalists being.
That's true.
Given chances and
opportunities. It's society advancing. Yeah. Hopefully. Yeah, but like, I mean, Paramore is my favorite band.
There you go.
They literally changed my life, which is a discussion in itself. But Hayley Williams is above and beyond, in my opinion.
She's a cool lady.
She's a cool chick. But that's not here. So now I'm going to give you my context for the album. We kind of dipped into the legal aspect of it. Mars Argo existing prior to Poppy, the breakup, the creation of Poppy, the suing of Poppy. Kind of a wild ride that's still kind of outstanding. And behind all that, Poppy has been evolving as an artist.
Yeah.
Or this project has been transitioning. It's like in a constant flux. Mm-hmm. So I'm just going to go album by album and maybe sprinkle in YouTube stuff because I think that's important to discuss as well. So you got Bubble Bath EP. It's like 4 or 5 songs. The biggest hit is Low Life, which even if you don't think you've heard it, you might have heard it in passing. Okay. It was a pretty successful single, but it had kind of like a weird like reggae feel to it.
Okay.
Almost. But the rest of the album was kind of standard pop. I don't think at that point there was a lot of satire in it. And the reason that's relevant is because the first album hits, Poppy.Computer. It is a satire album about pop music. It's very meta, right? Okay. She's named Poppy at this point. And leading up to this album, I think it was before the album dropped, is her YouTube fame. Like, prior to Bubble Bath, she was doing covers, and she got somewhat successful, I guess, if she were able to make music and an EP and an album and stuff. But between that Poppy's Bubble Bath and Poppy.Computer, she had this weird YouTube cult kind of thing going on. She would post videos that, some of which were satire, some of which were very clearly like mocking the YouTube culture. Yeah. Some of it is mocking religion, in that she was building her own religion, it seemed. It is very much making fun of something by doing that thing. Yeah. There's a big, I think one of her more successful ones is just her like endorsing Doritos and Monster, right? Which I get, it's satire, and they did it well, I think. But then it started getting weirder and got less satire and more just like, what can we get views from? Yeah. Like you mentioned, she was talking to a plant at one point. The plant is a character. It has a voice. There's also Charlotte the mannequin that has a voice, and they get into a fight. There's a whole lot of lore. At that point, I was into watching it because it was like, haha, it's funny and weird. Yeah. Right? And then it got weirder and more culty, and then she released the album. Like I said, I have a shirt that says, I'm not in a cult led by Poppy, because there was very much a cult appearance to it. Yeah. And it was intentional, right? She released a Bible. You can, I think it's still for purchase. You can buy a Poppy Bible.
Well, there you go.
I don't know what's in it. I haven't bought it. Come on. Because at that point, I was like, this is going a bit far. Yeah. Right? You're releasing a gospel. And I get it, it's satire, but is it really satire at this point? So I kind of withdrew a little bit. I think before that withdrawal happened, Poppy.Computer released. It is synth pop. It is bubblegum synth pop. It is... I don't think you would like this album. Like, I didn't think you would like this, but I really don't think you would like her first album.
Well, I'm going to listen to it.
Yeah, I mean, we might go through the discography and talk about it, or maybe just one-on-one off the podcast. I don't think my thing's recording. I just realized.
Well, mine is.
Okay, it is. It just didn't show the little icon. Anyways, Poppy.Computer is a very synthy, satirical album about pop music. There's not really a cohesive theme to the album. The tracks are kind of random and scattered, but she introduces her love for fashion. That's also done in her YouTube videos. She wears these extremely ridiculous looking outfits made of vinyl and plastic that just have things all over the place. There's a lot going on. It's very like avant-garde fashion kind of stuff that she's getting into.
So is this the wardrobe stuff that you were talking about?
Yeah,
with the
and well, before that kind of happened before, I believe. Okay. So she was wearing. There were videos. Some of those weird like satirical videos were literally copies of Mars Argo videos, because Mars Argo also did some weird video stuff, I believe. And when Poppy happened and they started doing YouTube videos, I think there are a few videos that Poppy is literally wearing the clothes that Mars Argo was wearing in her videos, saying the same things Mars Argo was wearing. So at that point, it's not really satire, you're just being a dick and just like clearly drawing that parallel, which I don't think is healthy. But there's songs like Moshi Moshi on the first album, which the chorus is just like Moshi Moshi, hi, hello. Like it's pop music in an extreme satire form, right? There's not a lot of like cohesion to it. The ending track itself is just like one big satire on pop music, and it's a slow. So like you have a lot of electronic kind of synth pop up to the last track, and then the last track is an acoustic piece. Right, which stands out obviously at the end of the album. It's a decent album. I don't hate it. I don't love it. I think it's important for context. But that brings us to her second album, Am I a Girl? So at this point, I believe before the album release, she had a YouTube show, like a YouTube Red premium show.
Yeah, I remember that.
I didn't watch it, but it was kind of diving into the lore of Poppy being an android or a robot that was, I don't know, I think in the show she was an alien or something. I don't think it was a factory thing, but in the album, I Am a Girl was very much her being constructed at a factory. The lead single, I think it was Your Time Is Up. Don't quote me on that. But it's the whole album is kind of her not being sure how to handle A, her fame that she's gotten, and B, the fact that she's a robot. Like, she was created for this, to be a pop star. Kind of a thing, which I guess is satirical in itself, because pop is very much produced. It's very factory made kind of a deal.
Very formulaic, by the books.
Yes, type. That's the word I was looking for. Formulaic. So she's expressing herself as an android, as a humanoid robot, and kind of dealing with that. Am I a Girl is the title track on the song, where she's just like saying, am I a girl, am I a boy, sometimes I'm masculine, sometimes I'm feminine, which I think has greater context to it, but I'm not going to get into the discussing each individual track. But so most of that album is very synth heavy. It's not as bubblegum pop as the first album, but it's synth pop, and it even, like, she did a Gary Newman cover, not on the album, but just as a single before the album released.
Well, if she's asking, am I a girl or am I a robot, it makes sense that it would go towards a synth.
Yeah. So it's very synthetic, and it's a very good album, I think. I like it musically a lot more than her first album, because it's got a good feel to it. But the last two tracks, I believe, start dipping into what Concrete starts as. Right? So there's this kind of evolution where it's bubblegum pop that ends on a bit more like folky, kind of acoustic piece. And then there's kind of a gap where it starts as a synth thing, a lot of like electronic feels, which makes sense. She was on Diplo's label. He's done a lot of like electronic stuff as well. But then it ends, and I don't know if this was on the album. This might be on the Choke EP. She has a song with Fever 333, which is, I believe, a metal act. And she also has a song with Grimes, which is another electronic female interesting musician. Actually, I haven't listened to a lot of Grimes stuff. Grimes just released an album this past Friday, and I listened to that because I was like, oh, I've seen Grimes as a feature. So I looked at it. It's pretty good. But yeah, the last two tracks, I think the last track is called Play Destroy or something, and it's very much a transition into what becomes I Disagree musically, in that it has a lot of the guitar chugging and like the breakdowns and like just kind of chaos lyrics.
Yeah.
And stuff that leads into I Disagree, and I Disagree starts that way, and then by the end of it, it gets kind of a little bit more alternative and kind of like Sick of the Sun, Don't Go Outside. It's a bit more like chill. So I'm interested to see if after Titanic Sinclair's left the project, if she continues to transition, or if she's going to stick with metal, or what she's going to do. I think I'm along for the ride regardless.
Yeah.
I will say, because I didn't clarify, between Poppy.Computer and Am I a Girl is when I kind of fell out of the Poppy culture. Because, it was getting very, very culty, and it didn't seem like it was a joke anymore at certain points. And I'd seen Poppy live, and it was culty in a funny way. Like, at the show, they handed out Kool-Aid for people to drink, right? Which is very much like making fun of cult culture. But, and then I got back into her after the release of Am I a Girl. I was kind of hesitant at the start, but musically it's so much better than Poppy.Computer. I'm like, okay, she's actually doing music now. They're not just doing this as like a joke. That Poppy.Computer kind of felt like. Yeah,
like this is
legit music.
Yeah, this could totally be just her primary thing, which I guess it is now.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. So I don't know the band members that were used. I don't know who wrote and recorded the guitars. We have producer credits. I don't know who any of these people are. So I'm not sure with the breakup if those were like Corey's bros that are like not going to work with her anymore, or if they're more on her side. There's a lot of drama about even that breakup. I'm not sure specifically why it happened. I haven't done a whole lot of research because there's a lot of speculation still.
Yeah.
But I wholeheartedly believe that Mariah is a victim in this case.
Yeah.
She was clearly being used by Corey. I say clearly. I'm not going to take a hard stance on this because I don't know.
The facts aren't out yet.
The facts aren't all out. There is that Mars Argo lawsuit, which there's some convincing evidence in that.
Yeah.
I believe there's a video, of Corey Mixter smashing wine glasses when he's just like drunk and being quote unquote abusive, whatever, which isn't great.
And that was a thing that I read, is that like she had made Brittany Sheets, Mars Argo, had made allegations against him on like abuse, manipulation type stuff, and Mariah, Poppy now, like dismissed it, and then she kind of
maybe she opened her eyes,
went back on it or something.
Yeah, and I think that's very possible, because she's young.
Yeah,
Mariah is like 23 now,
younger than I am.
She's young, which means at the start of it, she was very much like a nubile young girl coming to Los Angeles to make music, meets Titanic Sinclair, this guy with an ex that he wants to continue, like he wants to like make himself big and like say fuck you to Mars Argo, kind of picks her up and says, hey, you're gonna do this, we're gonna be rich, it's gonna work out. It worked out, but now she was now a tool, and she wasn't necessarily being what she wanted to be. So I'm interested to see what the next chapter of Poppy is. Definitely. If there is one. I really hope there is. I don't think she plans on stopping. I am going to go see her. She's still touring.
Yeah.
She is touring with Gojira and Deftones.
Oh.
So I'm going to go see them in Nashville this year in August, I think.
Lucky.
So that'll be a fun show.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people are going for Deftones and Gojira and aren't going to understand what's happening with Poppy. But maybe it'll be a good shared interest thing. I'm a fan of Poppy.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a fan of Deftones.
Oh, yeah.
I wasn't, which is why I'm a firm believer of gateway musicians and artists, which we can talk about another day. I initially wasn't crazy about Deftones. I saw Deftones live. They opened for System of a Down, and I didn't give a shit. I didn't care about them.
Yeah.
And I regret that, which is why I'm going to go see them now. Because now I have a better understanding or respect for what they do. But yeah, I think that's all I have to say about this album. I love this album. I like Poppy. I like her discography. First album was the weakest of the three. I don't find myself listening to it often. Am I a Girl is a good album. I would recommend listening to that at the very least if you want on your own time.
I'll probably listen to that one next and then make my way to the first.
Yeah. I should mention between
Oh yeah, you mentioned the Choke EP.
The Choke EP. Between Am I Girl and I Disagree, there was an EP of like 3 songs. Mm-hmm. I think that's actually where that Fever 333 feature comes in. There's like 2 or 3 songs on it. It's a pretty short EP. One of them is Choke. One of them, nope, can't remember it. I was going to say it, don't remember. It's an interesting EP. It kind of ramps up into this album as well. So it's not necessarily needed to get the context, but I think the evolution of Poppy musically and personally is something that is interesting and worth talking about, which is why I chose the album.
Yeah, there we go.
And we did it. We talked about it. So yeah, that's that. Next week, for this coming week, we are going to be listening to
Nana Grizol.
Nana Grizol.
It's a band name.
Is that how you pronounce it? Nana Grizol? Nana Grizol?
I think it's Nana Grizol. That's how I've always said it. I have never looked it up, never looked up a pronunciation.
Yeah.
But
maybe by next week we will.
The album is Love It, and I love it.
Joey loves it.
Yeah. I shouldn't have told you that. For the record, I try to leave literally all
possibilities.
I don't want to. Whenever
you don't want to lead me.
Yeah.
To a conclusion.
Yeah. Whenever I'm giving you albums, I don't want to be like, oh, well, I really like this album. I don't want to be the guy that's like,
sure,
love this album too, please.
Yeah. No. And I think we're both mature enough in our like musical journeys that's not going to be an issue.
Yeah.
I'm completely fine with dissociating. There's a lot of shit you listen to that I'm not going to be crazy about.
Yeah.
And I've accepted that.
I'm kind of worried that I'm not worried, but I kind of have.
You want me to like it, and you think I won't.
The only thing is this album. God, I'm saying too much. I'm gonna leave.
It's fine.
Okay, this album was just such a huge.
It was an impact.
It had such an impact on me.
Cool. And I'm looking forward to listening to it. I don't know if I'm gonna love it. I can't guarantee that. But we'll see. I think the genres you listed for it was electronic and rock, I believe.
It was rock and pop.
Rock and pop.
Which
pop rock.
It's more of like a indie pop, bedroom pop.
It's
rock.
A super band as well. I think it's worth mentioning for those who are going to be listening with us.
Yeah, and I guess I'll go into it because why not?
Yeah, I mean we got all the time in the world.
The lead singer, Theo Hilton. I believe that's his last name. I'm gonna regret not knowing if Theo
it's
Hilton.
fun. This isn't gonna come out. If this releases, then
exactly. Yeah,
it's fine.
He was a lead singer in Defiance, Ohio, which is like more punky band. They're like actual, I'd say punk. And he was one of the singers in that band, also a guitar player. The horn section is from another band.
A horn section.
You've
said too much.
I know. That's why. But it's from Neutral Milk Hotel, which
I've heard of. I haven't listened to. I know nothing about them, but I've heard the name.
What I'm gonna put, because they only have 2 albums. I'm gonna put both their albums on our list.
Okay.
But yeah, so it's got them, and then just some great other. The bassist is from another band in kind of that collective, because Nana Grizol. I'm gonna spell this just for clarity. It's Nana Grizol. Yeah, it's so if you're trying to find this album, looking up Nana. Yeah. Or Grizol. But their bassist is from another band in this collective, Planet X Records. Which I don't know. I don't think Nana Grizol's really a part of, but it's kind of a collective of folk, punk, pop punk, whatever bands. And the bassist is from one of those bands. I can't remember exactly which one now because it's not a band that I listen to as much as the others. Interesting. But, yeah. Interesting. I'm excited. Yeah. This should be good. I enjoy listening to your music recommendations because I never know what I'm going to get. Yeah. This one is nothing like Dan Deacon's. So. Yeah, and you have a very not abstract but kind of eclectic taste. Yeah. I think you like a lot of music that is a bit more sporadic. Yeah, in a lot of ways, or at the very least, non-pop. Yeah, this one is actually pretty decently poppy, which is why I'm kind of curious. It's more traditional, I guess. I would say. Interesting. Yeah. Interesting. So love it. Nana Grizol, Nana Grizol, something. We're listening to that. I encourage you guys to listen to it as well. Yeah. And if you had thoughts on this Poppy album, leave your thoughts, discussions, comment sections everywhere. Wherever we put this.
I think we're gonna look into feedback loop.
Yeah.
See if we can obtain like a Twitter handle or a Facebook or a YouTube channel, email address, stuff associated with that. So not that you're hearing this now that it matters.
Yeah.
We will put a disclaimer somewhere out on our social media if that has changed, but I guess then you won't be able to find us because you won't know what we're called now.
Yeah.
So we don't know. Bear with us.
It's a work in progress.
It's a work in progress. We're working on this. Hopefully the audio quality from your Tascam is good, and we can just use that. If not, I don't mind buying some mics. We'll talk about that off. That doesn't need to be discussed here. So the audio quality is going to be improving. But yeah, so leave us some comments. Drop us. Was it like, share, and subscribe? Click the bell.
Like, comment, and subscribe. Click the bell.
Buy our merch that we totally have. No, we're not like that. But
I am.
Maybe we'll one day. I mean, we need to sell ourselves to a degree. But yeah, until next time, keep on grooving. Keep listening to shit.
Stay in our feedback loop.
We'll be here next time.
Bye.